Yeah, one of the defining characteristics of a state is a monopoly on violence.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But it's like at all levels of governance, whether big or small,
Mm-hmm.
you see this monopoly on violence where the government, whatever that government likes, even if it's relatively egalitarian, even if it's consensus driven, they still sometimes commit violence to maintain social order.
Absolutely.
Which and violence and power are not. Their violence is about maintenance of power. It's about keeping the social order going.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you talk about these kinds of tough on crime, you see very few politicians, Democrat, Republican, whoever, that are not like tough on crime.
Absolutely. I think that the best way a Democrat can position themselves in a campaign is to say that they're going to be tough on crime because, one, because Democrats are basically just Republicans in a different tie. And, I mean, like, I think the Democratic Party is specifically positioned itself as a counterpoint to the Republican Party, but not to destroy the Republican Party, but to prop it up, because they just choose watered down Republican positions as their counterpoint to a Republican position, not an actual counterpoint. So they're not saying like the Republicans are in support of the police shooting black men. Well, what are we going to do? Are we going to get rid of the police? No, we're going to say that you should probably not shoot so many black men. And the way we're going to try to affect that is through a seminar that you're going to go to that'll tell you that black men are people too.
Imagine that.
Wow. So they're not a realistic counterpoint. But they also adopt a tough on crime attitude because they want to reinforce the power structure.
Yeah. And if you want a quick example of this, watch the film 13th. It's actually still free on Netflix.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Sorry, not Netflix, YouTube. You can it's about the 13th Amendment. It's really great. It's about the history of...
I feel like Kira shows that in her class.
Yeah, I do too, sometimes. This actually kind of leads into another point in the discussing of, like... in the book, how they're fracturing all these relationships. They're fracturing relationships between husbands and wives. They're kind of outlawing any sexuality for pleasure. They're fracturing...
I mean, that's specifically... They're specifically controlling women's sexuality to control men.
Right.
I mean, they're obviously affecting control over women whilst they're doing that, but it's like, it's a cunning strategy.
Right.
If you repress the sexuality of women, you're going to inherently control the behavior of men.
Absolutely. Yeah, and then they fracture the parent-child relationship. They fracture friendships.
Yeah.
So the whole point here is that they're creating this kind of fracture to make sure that people feel alone, so you're not organizing, so you don't have community power. And this, of course, like lends itself to like the crack epidemic and the war on drugs and all of this stuff, which you very clearly hear in a recording between Reagan and Nixon about how the whole purpose of that entire project of the war on drugs was to fracture the black community.
God, is there